and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting episode of Devil's Due. I am your host, Carl Duty. Court is back in session. With me, as always, is the man who's cooler than Mary Poppins, Mr. Drew Celestino.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh, I know about that, sir.
All right, I appreciate that.
Saying, just saying.
Slight spoiler. What's up, man?
How you doing?
Good.
We had ourselves a busy weekend.
We did.
Let's address that in our opening argument.
Hey, look at the
opening statement.
You're all efficient now with this opening stuff.
Like a ninja. How was your week, sir?
'Twas good, man. Friday we had the Cinco de Mayos. Well, hang on. Before Friday, Thursday. It was May the 4th.
May the 4th be with you
and all that. But yeah, that Star Wars business. So at work,
I love how you love it, but you hate it.
Yeah,
you love it, but you hate like 90% of the stuff associated with it.
Star Wars?
Yeah,
I hate the prequels. That's all I hate.
Well, you don't like May the 4th.
It's a silly pun, but whatever.
Come on, man. Appreciate a day where everybody
I appreciate Star Wars every day,
Wars.
man. Come on. But I do. Hey, look, whatever. It's all good. So we had a little sci-fi, Star Wars sci-fi quiz.
Yes.
At work, we had several people, like 30, 40 people in the office came to partake or at least observe. So we had a team. We had 19 people that opted into the quiz, right? So they broke them into teams. So they had 4 teams. 3 teams of 5 and 1 team of 4. I was on the team of 4.
Okay.
Family Feud style. But 4 of us had to get up. That's right. 4 of us had to get up front and buzz in, essentially.
Yeah.
So there were some ground rules, we didn't want people to dominate. And when I say dominate, I'll tell you. Well,
basically, if you got the question, what planet did Yoda escape to? You weren't allowed to answer that.
So some loose rules, let everyone on your team kind of go and get a chance to answer questions and things like that, and make it fair. And so let me tell you the categories. Categories were Star Wars,
okay,
Star Trek, DC Comics, Marvel Comics, Lord of the Rings, Hunger Games, Harry Potter, The Matrix, Back to the Future, and Alien.
So 3 of those you are totally
3 of those I did not have anything to do with, so I let my teammates, take those on.
Where would you be in the Matrix spectrum?
I knew every answer.
Okay.
But here's the thing. In fairness, I sat back and did not represent my team for the Marvel portion or the Matrix portion.
You were the Yakuza guy in the white suit just standing back while everybody fought. Come on, Marge. When he does something, it's going to be good.
More like I was biting through my lip because no one knew the answers to the Matrix questions, and I knew all of them. So, when I say no one, I mean no one on any team knew these answers. But I did. So, put it this way. Star Wars, Star Trek, DC Comics, Alien, the ones I actively did partake in, Back to the Future.
Yeah.
It was domination, dude. It was a slaughter. And I purposefully opted out of the Marvel one out of respect. Had I stayed in,
you wanted to be a competition.
I could have went undefeated. I could have run the table. If not for Hunger Games and all that business, and that stuff. Yeah, it wasn't even fair, dude. It just became me against the field at a certain point. Quiz Drew, he will dominate you.
In that scenario, I will bet you.
It was pretty awesome. I felt bad, but at the same time, if I wasn't there, it would have been a whole bunch of questions getting asked with no one knowing the answers. No one. So, big ups, dude. My childhood paid off.
Way to go, you.
Years of awkward crying myself to sleep paid off. It was great. Anyway,
nice.
That was Thursday. Then Friday.
Thursday night.
You
went out and did something.
I did?
With some people.
That's right. That was the same day. Oh, my God, dude. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes,
We're going to get all into that business
about,
in this episode here. So we'll couch that for him. But yeah, it's got my stamp of approval in a big bad way. Friday, Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo.
At your place.
At my place.
Tacos.
At my hacienda.
I see what you did there. Tacos.
What did you think of the tacos?
They were good.
I know you are a stern critic of
tacos?
Of everything. But
this is true.
Food being in that.
Oh, no, they were fantastic, dude. Did good. You done good.
Okay.
I had 2 or 3 of them.
I was disappointed in chicken. Because I couldn't grill it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, yeah, it tasted fine, but, there's that grilling taste that really...
Mother Nature drowned us the last week.
Yeah.
So
did you see my backyard?
I swam in your backyard, sir.
And I don't have a pool, folks.
It's bad. No, it was good, man. I don't think everyone appreciated Machete as much as we did.
Machete.
But I hadn't seen it in a while. It's still horribly great.
It's great. Love it.
But I think you did actually turn someone new onto it.
Yeah, Paul.
Yeah.
My friend Paul. He'd never seen it before.
Well, he did now.
Yep.
And
some people get it, some people don't. I love my wife. She doesn't get it.
No.
Love Sharknado, though. Doesn't like Machete.
Oh.
Don't.
Okay. I'm puzzled, but all right. Let's pass on that. Saturday and Sunday, sir. Saturday, I got to partake in my first wrestling event, formal wrestling event.
Yes.
I got to do ring introduction for Salvatore Morocco at the MFW event in Gowanda. And I also got to interject myself into the proceedings in the finish of the match.
I forgot your comic book.
It's okay.
Dang.
We'll get to that.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, I had quite a little adventure.
Did you hit someone with the chair?
No, but I did throw.
Give him the ring bell.
I did. I threw something into the ring to distract the referee, who I got up on the apron. I got to jaw with the ref and get into a little tussle.
Nice.
And then I got tossed out. I got ejected. I didn't take any bumps or anything, but I did. It was fun.
That's awesome.
It was kind of weird, man.
A little bit of a dream come true there.
A little bit. I don't think it's going to be the last time either. I think I might get called back to do some more spots.
You could be a manager?
I could definitely be a heel manager. I would love to be a heel manager. It was a good time.
What
grandmas and little kids, dude? Oh, they yell. Oh. Grandma was.
Were you getting pop?
Dude, these kids were letting me have it. They were talking smack. Grandma was giving me a hard time. Oh my, this grandmother. My God, it was real as hell to her. Unbelievable. It was great. It was fantastic.
That's awesome.
So that was fun. Sunday, continuing the theme, Jay Gelsomino and I and our friend Troy, we went to Toronto for the NJPW ROH War of the Worlds show.
Yes. How was that?
First half of the card was underwhelming. Here's the problem. And then I'll get into I'll give you the lay of the land, but let me tell you the gist of the show. The problem is ROH is not what it once was, because basically their talent has been poached by everyone over the years, and they haven't really restocked the cupboard, so to speak. They don't have a roster deep enough to hang and have quality matches with NJPW guys. So NJPW guys are too good for these ROH shows. So like Naito and Bushi were in a tag match against this tag team called The Kingdom. The Kingdom stink. They were terrible. It was slop fest. And Naito is one of the best wrestlers on the planet.
I'm sure there's probably also a language barrier there too.
No, because a lot of these guys, Japanese guys especially, they work when they get to that level, they have already gone on their what they call their excursion, where they come out of training and they send them abroad. They send them purposely abroad to learn abroad, and they come back to Japan to continue their careers. So wrestling kind of it's a weird kind of universal language. I don't know how they do it in the ring when they're calling spots, but they know enough to work. Yeah, it was just a slop fest. The Kingdom guys were sloppy. It was very disappointing because Naito is like Jay's Jay's idol. So, him having a bum match on this card was very disappointing for him and for me. But the second half of the card, the intermission, after the intermission, hot fire, sir. Hot fire. Jay Lethal and Kushida put on a 30-minute clinic. It was awesome. Fantastic match. And then, in his only appearance in North America, Kenny Omega, along with the Young Bucks, who collectively are known as the Elite, took on ROH champion Chris Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and Hiroshi Tanahashi, the ace of New Japan over the years. Not anymore. But
isn't Tanahashi the one that Kenny Omega had that great match with?
That's Okada. Okada was not there, unfortunately. Okada's the champ. He has champ things to do in Japan. But Tanahashi was the champ, and he was the ace of the company for like a decade. He's still one of the best wrestlers in the world by a mile. This main event was insane. It was amazing. Saved the show, worth the trip by far. Kenny and the Bucks, Leviathan over, dude. Crowd was hot for them. They are probably the hottest thing in wrestling outside of the WWE. Maybe hotter than anybody in the WWE. Dude,
surely not Seth Rollins.
Dude, Rollins, more people might know who he is, but I guarantee that he's not more over than Kenny Omega and the Bucks. So, it was awesome. Kenny Omega and the Bucks are liquid fire. They're oh my god, dude! It was amazing. We got there early, and a lot of the talent, including Kenny and the Bucks, were on the floor at merch tables for autographs and pictures. So here's the deal. Here's how this worked out. $30 per picture with a guy. $10 for autographs. $40, I think it was, for a picture with the Young Bucks, because there's two of them. So I don't even know what it cost to get a picture with all of the Elite, because they were all together, Kenny and the Bucks.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and guess that Kenny and the Bucks cleared $10,000 on photos alone before the show. I'm just guessing, but if I had to guess, they cleared $10,000 easy, just on photos.
Nice.
Their line was basically, there was two lines. There was the Kenny and the Bucks line, and there was everyone else.
Crickets.
And the Kenny and the Bucks line was longer. And it wasn't crickets for the other guys. Naito was doing autographs. Yeah. Tanahashi was doing autographs. I mean, Kushida, the guys were there. It was cool. But Kenny and the Bucks, dude, were the rock stars of the show, and it showed. Those guys are, they're big. It's big. It's big.
I probably would have just asked Kenny some Street Fighter questions.
See, yeah, he would have loved that. We did not partake in the lineup, but we saw them. It was awesome. It was very awesome. And ROH must hate money. Like, they must not like making money, because the merchandise selection was very poor. Like, they had merch, but the shirts they had available were kind of like and they packed up all the merch. There was no merch available after the intermission. So, like when you go to a concert and the concert's over, you go to the merchandise table, because you don't want to carry stuff around during the show. You want to, show's over, hit the table, go home with no.
Spend $50 on a t-shirt.
Right. No merch to close the show. Okay, yeah, just light that money on fire, ROH. It's a wonder that your status as a company is in decline.
Is ROH the one that Billy Corgan runs?
No, he doesn't run anything anymore.
Okay.
Anyway, it was super fun though. We had some slight problems getting home, thanks to the QEW being closed at a certain point, and we couldn't get back to the Rainbow Bridge easily. But that's another story for another time, and
that's tale for another pod.
Let Jay talk about that. I have spoken enough. Sir, how was your week?
My week? Week was good. Like your week pretty much started on Thursday with the May the 4th be with you. My work didn't really do anything officially, but I took it upon myself to dress appropriately for the day.
Robes? of some kind?
No, I just had I found a neat Tatooine T-shirt.
Oh, okay.
It's like a vacation postcard, Tatooine kind of picture on it. Wore my Rebel Alliance hat and brought my R2-D2 coffee mug in. Swapped out my Daredevil coffee mug.
Blasphemy.
I got a lot of coffee mugs. I like to keep a rotation going.
All right.
So that was good. Thursday night, went and saw Guardians. Obviously, like I said, we will get to that. For those of you concerned, there will be no spoilers for Guardians up until we say there are spoilers.
And there will be spoilers.
You will get ample warning.
Yeah.
So don't tune us out just yet. Friday was Cinco de Mayo. As soon as I got home from work, started prepping, cooking, getting all the stuff ready, cleaning. Party went great. A lot of fun. Good food and whatnot. Saturday was Free Comic Book Day.
It was. I did not go.
The first week of May has become kind of like Geek Christmas.
Kind of?
Because you get May the 4th.
Yeah.
You get the first weekend of May is always a Marvel film.
Traditionally now, yeah.
And you get Free Comic Book Day. So
did you get your Secret Empire or whatever with Cap and being evil?
I didn't get that one.
Okay.
I grabbed 3 issues total. They had a Street Fighter special. Actually, I read it. I'm going to give you that one too because it's a Street Fighter wrestling special.
Okay.
Featuring Dan.
I like Dan. Everyone hates Dan, but I like Dan because everyone hates him.
So I got that. They had a Tick free comic book.
Huh.
And there was a Legend of Zelda comic that I grabbed for you because I knew you mentioned you probably weren't going to be able to.
Yeah, I totally missed it, but then I saw pictures of that online. I was like, oh, I would have liked to have gotten that. And then you got Wing One.
I grabbed one for you.
Bless you, sir.
It's manga.
That's okay. It's Zelda.
The other, like.
I got to fold it the other way?
You're thinking you're looking at the back of the book and you're actually looking at the front.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mind blown.
Yeah. Reading it should be interesting. I went to Free Comic Book Day at Dave and Adams. They had tons of cosplayers there. It was a real fun environment. Our guests who will be on the show were there doing sketches.
Cool.
Another feature guest was there, and we talked about his upcoming appearance on the show, so that will be fun when it happens.
The Devils Do Network grows.
It does. Our bench is getting deeper and deeper. That was a lot of fun. Dressed, the whole family dressed appropriately. Julie had her Baby Groot t-shirt on. She's like, I don't think I could wear this. It's dirty. I'm like, you wore it for 3 hours last night. It's still clean. Don't worry, you're fine. So she had a Baby Groot t-shirt on. I had my Spider-Man Classic Underoos reprint t-shirt on with my Spider-Man Hawaiian shirt on with Eric Larson artwork on it.
I love Eric Larson.
And I almost wore a Spider-Man visor. Not hat, mind you, just like the visor. And it's got like the Spider-Man eyes and the webbing on it. And I looked at you, I'm like, this is a little bit too much, isn't it? She's like, yeah. All right.
Check yourself, sir.
But I was able to dress up William, and that was just a lot of fun. Did you see the pictures?
I may have. I probably did.
Because kids just, I mean, how do you go wrong with
Whose
that?
kid could that be?
Who's in the Spider-Man onesie and the Spider-Man hat? Whose kid could that be? He's just adorable. So we went to David Adams, and it was a lot of fun. And I picked up my normal books, and
How many X-Wing ships did you buy this week, Carl?
Because I mentioned last week that work was sending me a $150 gift card.
You bought $150 in ships, didn't you?
For my 10-year anniversary. How many guitars do you have over there?
That's okay. That's different.
Don't lecture me.
Those were accumulated over a period of years.
On my problems.
You bought like 30 X-Wing ships in a month.
Listen. That statement is true.
Oh, my God.
But I do it for us.
All right.
To add to our game nights. Yeah, I bought $150 worth of X-wing stuff.
It's like what, 4 ships?
No, it's you get a lot. Like it all did. There's tiers to the ships that you can get. Like
Yeah, we've talked about this.
Single ships, $15.
Okay.
For the quality of model you're getting, that's not a bad price at all. So single ships are $15. They have special like dual packs sometimes. Like I got a dual pack that was Imperial Veterans, and then I got a TIE Defender and a TIE Bomber.
Okay.
And TIE Defender's red. It's like the Royal Guard.
That's kind of cool.
It's really sweet looking. I got that. I got a standard TIE Fighter, an E-Wing, A-Wing, a B-Wing. I got the original core set that the game first came out with, so I could get Luke, Biggs, R2-D2, and just like another set of like the measuring tools they use for maneuvering. So it'll make it nice when we do play it again. You know, each side can have their own set.
Cool.
And I got a play mat.
All right.
I bought essentially a 3-foot by 3-foot mouse pad.
Cool.
Which with that has a picture of the second Death Star on it.
It makes
it was cool.
It's an authentic Star Wars experience.
Yeah. So got all that stuff, and later at night I got to play X-Wing with a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And I won.
All right.
Flying my Chewbacca in the Millennium Falcon. Did a lot of shooting. Accidentally killed one of my own ships.
You can do that?
Yeah, if you fly off the board, ship's done.
Wow.
And I flew. I thought I was being smart, and I wasn't, because I flew and I didn't fly off the board, but there was no maneuver I could have done where I would have ended on the board.
You can fly. You're a pilot.
No. My A-Wing pilot was drunk.
Okay.
So that was Saturday night. Sunday. Well, after Free Comic Book Day and before I went to play X-Wing, I watched something that you need to watch.
Uh-oh.
And folks, if you are a comic book fan at all, or just love good documentaries, you need to watch too. If you have Hulu,
I don't.
Well, you can come over to my house and watch it if you want.
Okay.
It's a documentary. It's called Batman and Bill.
The Bill Finger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Holy crap, it's friggin' amazing. Now, I knew going in, like, a good portion of the story. I didn't know all of it. Folks, Batman was not created by Bob Kane.
No.
Batman was created by Bill Finger. Like, Bob Kane created the concept.
Kind of.
And
the name.
That was about it.
And the name.
Yeah.
And that's all he had.
Everything else was created by Bill Finger, and Bob Kane screwed him out of it.
Yep.
I didn't realize how badly he got screwed out of it.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's
if you want to feel better about that, just watch the clip on YouTube of Jim Steranko talking about slapping Bob Kane in the face.
Yeah.
You'll feel real good, real quick.
So yeah, definitely, if you have Hulu, Batman and Bill, watch it. It's freaking incredible.
All right.
I think I took notes on my week. Developing, learning. But I think that's pretty much it for the week.
Cool.
Yeah. William's got a cold.
That is unfun.
Yeah, it's not nearly as bad as the last time when you gave me the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse worth of plague. He's doing all right. Bless you.
Thank you, sir. Whew.
So that was my week. Dear listeners, if you would like to tell us about your weeks, send questions to the show, make comments, give us your thoughts. We would love to hear them. You can reach us at the following multimedia sources. You can reach us at Twitter at Devils Do Pod. You can go to Facebook.com/Devils Do Pod. You can email us at thedevilsdopod@gmail.com. Or you can find all these resources available to you at thedevilsdopodcast.com, which brings us to cross-examination.
Bring it.
We got questions.
I like questions.
First question we have here is a Twitter question from Twitter user Badgerfang. He asks us who wins, Hong Kong Phooey or TV's with spots or TV's Iron Fist, and he puts in parentheses that you should be reviewing regardless of quality.
No.
You still haven't finished it yet, have you?
No.
So
Terrible. I can't.
So who would win, Drew?
Hong Kong Phooey's going to win.
Yeah, you know why he would win?
Because he's actually competent at Kung Fu.
And he's the number one super guy.
He is. He's got a cool song.
Quicker than the human eye.
And he gets changed in a filing cabinet.
He does.
Good luck with that, Danny.
He's Danny Rand.
Danny Rand.
I just pictured a conversation in my head. I'm Danny Rand. I am Groot. I'm Danny Rand. I am Groot.
Accurate.
Okay, folks. Wow, we got another question coming in. We got so many questions this week.
I like questions.
Folks, thank you for sending in the questions. First up, we have a new question asker this week,
All
sir.
right.
Adam sent us a question.
Hi, Adam.
Now, I should say, Adam is part of the reason I have a problem with board games now. Between Adam and Alan, they both kind of...
Oh.
Yeah.
So we know Adam.
I know Adam.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Adam sends in, Carl and Drew, I've been a listener since episode 1 and have appreciated your unique insight on geek culture. Figured I should break my silence with some questions.
All right.
Question for both of you. As a board game drug pusher, as I have been labeled by Carl, I figured I should stay in my wheelhouse. If you could design a board game based on Daredevil,
Ooh,
how would you like it to go? Would you borrow any mechanics from current favorites?
This is difficult. This is tough because I mean there is Legendary with Daredevil in it.
Yeah, but it's not really a Daredevil game per se.
No, it's not. So what would a Daredevil game be like?
I think it would be best as kind of a dungeon crawler style game.
Okay.
Like Star Wars Imperial Assault, Dark Winter, the Ghostbusters game.
Sure. Okay.
Like cool miniatures and whatnot.
Okay.
With maybe a deck building aspect to it. Like powers and ability in the cards and
okay.
whatnot.
I could see that. Sure.
Yeah.
And then you have to is it scenario based or villains pop in and out in the dungeon?
I think probably scenario based because your dungeon's essentially going to be Hell's Kitchen.
Yes, totally.
I think scenario based. See, I haven't played a lot of games like this because I know that campaigns in a game like this are extensive. Like you can't knock one out in a game night. It takes like a couple sessions to fully advance campaign. But I think probably something along those lines.
You know what might also work is some kind of role playing. Role playing is the wrong word, but like the murder mystery kind of games would work well too with Daredevil, because you could have a cast of characters, and he would have to uncover facts about a case. You can use whoever's Daredevil in the group. He has abilities. He has his senses, and he can use commands to have people tell them details about sights, sounds, and things like that. That could be interesting. That might be actually kind of a cool way to do a Daredevil game.
Yeah.
So anyway,
right. His next question is, when will Carl have a segment in the show talking about what X-Wing ship he bought this week?
Spoilers, you've just heard it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a light week for comics, too, so I'm probably going to get...
Oh, look at this. Yeah. It is a light week for comics, actually.
I got three issues.
Me too. Yeah.
The Bills and Sabres are both looking for a general manager. Which comic book character or fictitious character from nerd culture would you hire to run our woeful franchise?
I'm gonna say Reed Richards could run both because he knows analytics. And he's got some experience leading a team.
I'm going to say Wilson Fisk.
Wow.
I'm not messing around. I want my dang teams to win.
So you're just gonna go
Yep.
firm hand
Yep.
wins. Okay.
Yep. Wilson Fisk.
Bribe the ref if you have to.
Sure.
Okay.
We've suffered long enough.
Yeah, kind of. I like my answer.
I'm not so
but
much. I'm not so much thinking of bribing the ref aspect as like
threatening the ref.
negotiating trades
Oh,
will be advantageous to us.
yeah. So like either your brains or your signature goes in the contract, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I'm trying to be legit, but yeah, sure, we can go your way too.
Okay. I'm done waiting for legit. Legit's taking us too friggin' long. Screw legit.
All right. Fair enough.
All right. Thank you guys for all you do. Adam, thank you for the questions. We very much appreciate them. We have questions that literally just came in as I started reading questions.
Look
from
at this.
Mr. Tom Fenzel.
All right.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
He starts out by answering our question from last week. The question we have closing arguments now. We asked the viewers a question. Oh, by the way, can you think of a question to ask before the end of the show? Thanks. Hey,
I'll
guys,
try.
to answer your question, I am reading Trees from Image. I picked it up without any knowledge of the plot and was amazed with the storyline and the art. It's a sci-fi story that takes place on Earth in the future. These huge tree-like structures landed on Earth around the world and disrupted most of the countries. New York City is more like Venice now. Cool. Sounds interesting.
I think that is that a Warren Ellis book? I think it is.
I don't know. It's trees.
I feel like it's a Warren Ellis book, and he's pretty. People like Warren Ellis, so cool.
Cool. Questions. I want to know what your opinions are on digital comics. I've run out of space to purchase physical books, and it seems cheaper to wait for a trade to come out on Nook. What do you think?
Well, I like the idea of digital comics. My 14, I might be up to correction. I might be up to 16 long boxes now upstairs. Yeah, the light just went out.
All right.
Got a light when the bulbs blow. Anyway, good thing we could see each other with your phone light. Oh, never mind. And the podcast got sexy. No, so I like the idea of digital comics. Unfortunately, I don't like the execution of digital comics. I need paper in my hands, dude. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I can't read a comic book page by page on a digital screen that way. I need the tactile thing in my hand. I got to turn the pages. And when you have like a 2-page splash page, like when they do the big two-page layouts and all that, you're going to lose that on a 1-page slate. I can't do it. Again, the idea is great. I would love to have all my comics in one convenient thing.
Yeah.
I would. Oh my God, I'm dying upstairs. I'm dying.
You got a lot of books. I don't mind digital for new stuff.
Okay.
Like, I get the whole idea of saving space and whatnot. But, like, if you're going for, like, classic books and whatnot, you can't beat, like, that pulpy smell.
Oh, I love the comic smell.
The comic smell when they use newspaper. For classic books, you got to go physical. If you want to do it, I've never had a problem. There have been a couple series that I've been like, you know what, I kind of want to read this, but I don't want to take up the physical space. I've just gotten them digital. I still get primarily physical copies because David Adams has like 20% off new comics all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But at the same time, I'm also like dialing back on what I'm reading because it's just the space it's taking up is becoming an issue. Thinking to the previous election is another question from Tom. Thinking to the previous election, pick each major candidate's superhero champion. The only real way to win the election would be a battle royal. Use the candidate's personality to pick a hero, not a villain. Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, Bernie Sanders, Jill Stein, Ted Cruz. So he's asking here, assign each of them a superhero champion who would win.
I can't objectively do this. I'm sorry. I just can't.
I think Trump would find a way to convince himself that J. Jonah Jameson could win. So here we go
Sure,
with
but
him.
no, but he is the media though. So he and as we know, Trump hates the media. So that's
doesn't
kind of
like Fox News.
that's kind of a weird dichotomy there.
So I don't know who Clinton would go with.
I don't know. Good question, dude.
Ted-
You stumped me.
Ted Cruz, maybe, I don't know, Vibe. I don't know.
Yeah. Who's limp and ineffectual? That's Ted Cruz.
Bernie Sanders would probably go Reed Richards. Sticking in the age bracket.
Sure. Okay, I guess. He's also got some Ollie Quinn too with him though. Super.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Bernie Sanders would probably go Green Arrow and probably win.
Yeah.
So, all right, Tom. Thank you so much for your questions. We appreciate it.
It's heavy.
It is. Now we get to the axe and smash of.
Ooh, I
Devil's
like
Due.
that. I like that.
The demolition of the Devil's Due. Let's see.
I was going to ask if they made it.
Last week we started with Jay. Did we start with Jay last week?
I don't know.
I don't remember. So long ago. We'll start with Alan. Carl and Drew.
Hi.
Many critics claim Marvel has an issue with developing villains. Do you think Nolan's Batman films have swayed audiences to believe what villains should be?
I don't think it's Nolan's fault. I think DC movies, though, well, Batman,
Yeah.
historically,
You're talking about one of the
Nicholson,
two
DeVito.
greatest rogues galleries in comics.
yeah, the Batman flicks in general kind of, they relegated Batman traditionally. Not the Nolan ones per se, because Batman had a little more to do in those. But the Keaton flicks, dude, Batman took a back seat to the villains.
Yeah.
Tim Burton was more interested in telling the villain stories, and he
Yeah.
hired really capable and charismatic actors to play them.
Yep.
So Nicholson, sure, outshined Keaton. I mean, and DeVito, too, probably outshined Keaton.
Yeah. Even though it wasn't the best representation of the character. Of the
No, but it was certainly a representation, a strong character, put forth.
Had a Happy Meal.
Yeah, sure did. Oh my god. So I think there's this kind of perception that their villains are more interesting. I think this whole Marvel villain problem is a little slightly overblown. I mean, I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe it's fair, but Loki's great. As we'll find out,
Zemo.
Zemo's great.
Zemo's
He's got
great.
good motivation. Ultron was cool. I don't know.
Ultron was James Spader.
Yeah, but that's a bad thing.
I love James Spader. I
Yeah.
would have rather him played Ultron and not just a caricature of James.
Fair
Spader.
enough. That's fair. That's fair. Winter Soldier was a great villain.
Yeah.
Spoilers: Robert Redford.
I think I think it's one of the easy things to say that Marvel has bad villains, but when you sit down, legitimately think about it, I mean, yeah, like you said, they're not at the level of the way the Batman villains have been represented, but they're not bad.
No, but I feel like Marvel's focus is more on its heroes. It explores them more than it explores their villains. So I guess the villains maybe do have to take a little bit of a backseat, but I don't think it's a problem per se. I mean, they're putting forth really strong characters.
Yeah.
So I don't see the problem really.
So his question to me is, Carl, James Gunn has pulled the impossible by convincing Marvel to trade for the film rights to Ego, the living planet, as we will discuss in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yep.
Do you think Gunn can do it again for future films? I think so. I think we're starting to see some bridges being built between Fox and Marvel, and they've seen the success that Marvel had with Spider-Man and undoubtedly the success they're going to have with Spider-Man. Do I think we're going to be hugging it out anytime soon? Not necessarily, but I think we're kind of starting to see some fences being mended, and it wouldn't surprise me to see some pop-ups in future films.
Let's hope. Let us hope.
Yep. Drew,
Yeah.
with R-rated comic book films being all the rage due to the success of Logan and Deadpool, do you think this will be a passing fad to appease non-traditional comic book readers, or will the successes of Guardians of the Galaxy remind audiences that films can be successful by not being rated R?
Guardians gives me hope that people don't forget that, young people want to see these movies too, and the next generation of fan is going to be born out of them being able to see them. This R-rated thing is getting a little out of line. You see the news today about Hellboy being rebooted, R-rated. Why? I don't need that. I
think a lot of it depends on the character.
It does.
Like an R-rated film for Deadpool, you kind of have to. For Logan, you don't need to.
No, we talked about this.
You can, but you don't need to.
Yeah.
Hellboy,
you can. I can see it, but I don't need it though.
Like Guillermo del Toro did two visually, and not just visually, but they were good films.
Yeah.
Without having being an R rating. So.
Yeah, if they're just doing it to do it because it's the thing to do, apparently, you know what it is? It kind of speaks to the aging of comic book / geek culture, to be honest with you. Like, we're getting old, and as such, we expect our entertainment to suddenly have to grow up with us. But part of growing up isn't swearing and boobs. Part of growing up is realizing that swearing and boobs are kind of juvenile. I know I sound really old, but
old was not the word that came to mind.
Go on.
Kind of hypocritical.
Why would you say that?
Dude, you swear in ways that would make a sailor on shore leave blush.
I do. But in my media though that I really enjoy, honestly,
Okay. All right.
I don't need it. Having said that, RoboCop's my favorite movie ever. but when I see a movie of a certain genre, I don't know, these comic book flicks, like Logan, I just feel man,
it didn't need to be.
It doesn't need to be this. And again, it's just they're just putting it in there to appease a certain demographic that wants boobs and F-bombs.
And I don't need to see it in black and white.
No, I don't care. Whatever.
If they initially released it in black and white, I think that would have been a bold move. But yeah,
I don't know. I'm all over the map on this. I know, but it just feels there's a fine line. Are you doing it because it serves the story and it's the tone that you want to put forth, or are you doing it because boobs and thin F-bombs, bro? Isn't it?
Zach, is that
look how edgy it is, dude.
Zach, come on now.
I don't know. It depends. But I don't want to see where does it end? We can have an R-rated Spider-Man at some point. I don't want that.
Yeah. Like I said, it's character dependent for me.
Sure.
What's the story you're trying to tell? Doesn't need it.
Yeah.
Okay, which brings us to... Thank you, Alan. We appreciate your questions.
Hell yeah.
Which brings us to Mr. J. Gelsomino. Drew.
Hi.
What was worse this past weekend? Me inexplicably getting lost on the way home.
Yeah, there's that story I was talking about.
Wish I was there this week to defend this, explain it away.
Nope, there's no explaining it away.
You got lost on the way home.
He got so flustered. He was so mad. Anyway, go on.
The Kingdom blowing our Naito time.
See, I talked about this.
The line for autographs.
Yeah.
The lack of beer for you to consume.
Yeah.
The merch selection. So what was worst last week?
Purely because of the situation and the time that it was, getting lost in Canada was... It was late, dude. It was after 1:30 in the morning. We were all tired and cranky.
Yeah.
We wanted to go home, and Canada didn't let us get there easily. And then Jay's stubbornness also did not get us there easily. To be fair, though, he did get us there. So full marks. He did get us there, but it was a tense little 20-30 minute delay.
Yeah. All right, Carl.
But he got us through it.
Yep. We have another question that probably could have been a text message.
I love these.
Don't you wish you came with us Sunday? Want to come over in June to watch the next big NJPW show? We need to bring you further down the rabbit hole with this. Jay, I mourn every missed opportunity to hang out with you guys. I obviously wish I could have come. I had stuff going on. The new NJPW show could be done in June.
Rematch.
Yep.
Kenny Okada.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll be there for that.
Yep.
And then his combo question is essentially what we thought of Guardians 2, which
You're going to find out.
you're going to find out, Jay, and you don't have to stop listening until we say spoilers.
I know he hasn't seen it yet, so...
Yeah. We're going to give you plenty of notice that spoilers are going to be happening.
Uh-huh. But it's good.
All right.
So, there you go.
That is it for cross-examination. Beefy cross-examination this week. We really only have one thing to go over in news, but it's a pretty big thing.
Okay.
Very show relevant. Excuse me.
Enlighten me, sir.
This past week, not only this past week, the freaking day after we recorded the last episode, we got our first full Defenders trailer.
We did.
What'd you think, Drew?
I liked it.
I like it a lot.
I liked it a lot. Yes, that's accurate. I did like it a lot. So you know how we all hate Iron Fist, basically?
I hate's a strong word.
Okay, well, I hate it. Having said that, when he was on screen with Luke Cage and they were kind of going at each other,
It was great.
dude, I'm not gonna lie, I got
the immortal Iron Fist. Now?
I got some feels. I was like, dude, it's Luke Cage and Iron Fist, even though he's not wearing his outfit, but it's Luke Cage and Iron Fist.
Matt wasn't even wearing his outfit in that.
No, I know.
I love that. Jessica says, "You look like an idiot." He's like, "It's your scarf."
No, it looks really cool.
Yeah.
They're off to a good start, I think. Hallway fights.
They
the series.
love them, the hallway fights. Next Daredevil series is just going to be 13 episodes of a hallway.
The hallway fights are like the TV show equivalent of the big blue light shooting into the sky in the other films.
Big blue light.
Every Marvel film has a big blue beacon shooting into the sky that it's a portal of some kind or some kind of harbinger of death.
Okay.
They've got that. The movies have that. TV, hallway fights.
Alrighty.
There you go.
So, yeah, I think it looks great. I think the trailer was well presented. A lot of cool visuals in the trailer, especially the color tones. Like, especially the beginning of the trailer where Jessica Jones is sitting getting interrogated by Misty.
Oh, yeah.
And it's got a very purplish hue in the interrogation room. Matt bursts in and the door is red behind him and his glasses are a more profound red than they've been. I like cool stuff, visuals like that. I'm really excited for this. Coming off of Iron Fist, I think we're both really desperate to get back.
Please be good. Please be good.
For
please.
Netflix to get back to form.
Well, if Defenders isn't what we hope it is, there's always the Punisher, I guess. So trying to look at the positive
Punisher,
here.
Daredevil season 3, Jessica Jones season 2.
Yeah.
Which I think just started production this week.
All right.
So, yay for that.
Good deal.
All right. That is all we have for news. I'm sure other stuff happened this week, but this is going to be a beefy episode, folks, because we have some guests, and let's get to them. All right, Drew, we have some guests in the courtroom this week.
We do. It's strange and beautiful.
Yeah, we definitely want to get more into the guests. It's fun to grow the Devil's Due family. We have two representatives of the art group Under the Hood with us this week. First off is John Kindellan.
Yep, Kindellan.
I'm sorry.
Just told you.
He literally just told me, and it took me 0 seconds to screw it up. You would think I'd be more sensitive to that growing up with the last name Duty.
Yeah. Well,
always getting a look from the teachers like, do I say Duty?
You're lashing out. It's okay.
Yeah, pretty much. And also we have with us Christopher Conti.
You nailed it.
Got that one right.
Yeah, well done. 1 for 1. You can tell I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. 500 is an achievement. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
It's glamorous in here, is it not?
It's fantastic.
It's like huge in here.
Spatial palatial estates.
So tell us about, you guys are an art group. Give us some background. How did this group come to be? How did this group form? Give us your origin story. Who got bit by a radioactive pencil?
Chris found me in the gutter With a pencil in my hand, no.
Look, Zack Snyder's not telling this origin story. Let's keep it light.
We can have color.
So the origin story is I had been doing Buffalo Comic-Con shows for years. So I was at Buffalo Comic-Con, probably been doing them for over 10 years now with my son Austin, and I would be there. Met Chris, that we work together at Ingram Micro, where we both work in our tech support department. And he was, we started talking about art, and he said, I would love to be able to do one of those shows someday. And I'm like, just come and sit at the table with me. And we were like, it's kind of stupid for two guys just to be sitting at a table. Like, everybody knows who you are. Why do I sit next to you? Like, who am I? And I'm like, okay, well, let's make up a fake name for a studio. And at the time, we were both really big into Arrow. And because we do everything. Like, we sculpt, we paint, we draw.
Okay. Yeah.
So we do everything under the hood. Mm-hmm. So that's how the name came to be. So it was like inspired a little bit by Arrow, but also just because we cover a lot of different things.
So is it by intent or complete accident that it's also the title of Hollis Mason's book in Watchmen?
It's by complete accident.
It's complete accident.
Yeah, we didn't realize it, and then so we found that out later on, and it's on the IMDb page. Under the Hood is on the IMDb page as well, but that's not us. Yeah,
Okay.
Complete accident.
Fair enough.
And how many artists make up the group in total?
Originally, it was technically 4.
Yep.
It was myself, John, a friend of ours, Sean, who did. He was all like movie props. He would do the pouring, casting, sculpting, and stuff like that. And then his daughter's now fiance, Tyler, who is still a member of the group, and he started out doing mainly paintings, but he's kind of crossed over into the drawing and digital world too. So I think we're saying 3 now, because I think Sean has kind of made his exit.
Well, you got Austin too.
Austin as well. I always forget about Austin.
He forgets my son.
Austin, if you hear this, I'm very sorry.
He doesn't go on Facebook. Facebook's not
unity.
for teenagers anymore.
He's not.
He's too cool for school. Austin has been doing shows with me, so he would just come and hang out, being a kid and hanging out at Comic-Con. But at Free Comic Book Day, he was assisting us and actually doing drawings and sketchings for people as well.
The thing, like, all of the Kindellan clan kind of gets in the play. Like, his daughter Sydney was in. It's invaluable. We can't do what we do at shows without Courtney and
So my daughter Courtney also helps it out. Tyler's fiance, my daughter Courtney. She is like our marketing guru, so she'll take care of the Facebook and the Instagram. And when we're head down drawing something, she's the one talking to people at the table so we don't come across as the jerks that we are.
we don't want people to see the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. And, to have 2 young women at a table working at con where a lot of guys are like, oh, girls, right? Instead of just having to talk to us 2 big nerds.
Sure, you put them out in front.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Then you have to apologize to them later for doing so.
Nah.
They love it. They love it.
A nice dinner after the show.
Absolutely. We always go out and
Provided.
celebrate.
I'm so sorry.
Awesome. That's really cool that you guys are like very diverse in what you do. Like the times I've seen you at shows or at Dave and Adams, places like that, you're predominantly just doing sketching. I didn't know that there was like a whole nother facet beyond what you guys do, and that's really cool. The diversification, for lack of a better phrase, is really, really cool. How did you, because a lot of what you guys do when you're like live streaming and things like that, which again, you get a real sense of family from the group when you're doing your live streams, because you're always kind of including everyone on it. And I think that's really cool too. You're predominantly doing comic book work, more or less, characters, more or less.
Pop culture.
Yeah.
We consider ourselves pop culture artists.
How did you do you currently, since you're broadening to pop culture, do you guys currently read comics and if you do, and I'll take that as a yes, how did you what was your fruit from the forbidden tree that got you into the
You want to go first?
hobby?
Yeah, mine's actually a funny story. As a kid, I got into Batman from Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah.
Like when I think Batman, I hear Kevin Conroy's voice in my head. Like there's no other
we've had
voice.
this discussion numerous times.
That's
Kevin
the
Conroy,
correct
Mark
answer.
Hamill.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's what got me into Batman, which then led into I want to read comic books. But then the first comic books I actually owned were Calvin and Hobbes books. I would cut them out of the Sunday paper. I had folders that I would keep them in, and then inevitably, when I got grounded for doing something stupid, I would sit and read through all of these things I kept in a folder, and so that's kind of what started it for me. And then it just kind of it's an addiction, as you know.
Yeah.
It just kind of go.
Yeah.
So that's where I came from in the comic world.
I've been collecting for a long time. I'm a little bit older.
There's nothing wrong.
So I've been collecting comics nonstop for about 23 years. So he gets mad at me because I'll be like, we'll see a case where they have like some of the books from the 90s, like Mad Love. I always like to throw in his face that I have a copy of Mad Love because I bought it off the shelf when it first came out. I have the entire run of The Flash, pun intended, the Wally West issues. So
Nice.
everything from number 1 to the very final one. So he was my like one character I focused on more than anything. I have X-Men back from I can't remember how long, back to the Chris Claremont days, to some of those. So I have those. Yeah, I have a lot of comics. They're stored in my garage. They're stored in my laundry room. Long boxes, short boxes, totes. Yeah, and I still collect today. So I still go on Wednesday and pick up my books and grab my stuff. So the first book that got me into art, though, was actually Savage Sword of Conan. Because the big magazines and like Joe Jusko's cover work and the paintings that he used to do. First poster I ever bought for my bedroom was the Peter Parker Joe Jusko famous picture where he's taking off the shirt.
And he's got the mask in the pocket. I had the same poster.
Yeah. As somebody who drew, I would only say I would only hang certain stuff in my room because I would just draw whatever I wanted, and if I was going to get something. So Joe Jusko, and we got to meet him at one of the shows, which was pretty
Very cool guy.
And I had the Jim Lee X-Men team poster where it was the long one where he had like every X-Men character in it, and with Cyclops and Professor Xavier like dead center, and then like Strong Guy was in there, like all of X Factor and Excalibur and all those teams.
Strong Guy, it just seems like there was a deadline that had to be met. And some dude was just out drinking the night before and forgot to do something and needed a name.
Strong Guy.
Strong Guy.
It fits the character, though.
His real name was Guido, though.
That
so
too.
like his actual name was Guido. It didn't get any better.
Yeah. So let me ask you, John. You're clearly an X-Men fan.
Yes.
Drew and
He's
I
got ink. X-Men ink.
Drew and I have said in the past that the X-Men film continuity has become as confusing as the comic book continuity.
Yeah, they
and the
mucked that
comic
up
book
real
continuity in and of itself is more confusing than the rest of Marvel's continuity as a whole.
Yep.
Where do you fall on?
So, but here's the problem with John Condellan. He likes bad movies.
Listen, I just had a whole bunch of people over to my house Friday night to watch Machete for Cinco de Mayo.
I love Machete.
So we are in the
so I
same-
was listening
same
to
frame
your
of mind.
show, and I heard you talking about Suicide Squad. So I had to say, like, I was like, well, every time it's on, I also watch it. And for me, I find it a little bit better every time. I think everybody wants to hate on DC films, but they're not nearly as bad as they think they are.
But they give us so many reasons to hate on them.
But
though.
so do Marvel ones. Like, I know, like, everybody hated Batman, Superman because of the whole Martha thing, right?
There was
amongst 9,000
lot
other
more than
reasons.
that.
Yeah, there's some good
but-
stuff in there
but
too.
make
If you
your- make
you
your
have to
case
watch
for
the
it.
extended scene, like, so first of all, you have to watch.
But I don't think that's something you should have to say, that you have to watch the
Well,
extended version
yes.
to appreciate a movie.
I
I'm
agree.
gonna have to- I'm
I
gonna
wish
side
they
with-
would have just released the actual film the way it was supposed to be in theaters, and I think people would have enjoyed it more. But the theme behind Civil War is the same theme behind Batman vs Superman.
Well, it's a matter of execution.
I guess so.
And that's the key right there.
Yeah.
It's the way it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Suicide Squad for me was an epiphany of, okay, DC makes interesting characters and just puts them in really bad movies.
Yeah.
Like, I liked I was very surprised how much I liked the characters and the choices the actors made in Suicide Squad. but the rest of the film, at least to me personally, was just hot garbage.
Well, the other part of it too, I think, is with Marvel, the characters are always set in reality. Real cities, human people, real problems. X-Men have problems, family issues, all that stuff. Justice League they're gods, right? Their powers are ridiculously more powerful than Marvel characters. So to put them in the reality spectrum, like Christopher Nolan started with the whole Batman, like, I'm going to make it realistic. You shouldn't have, because it doesn't belong in a realistic world. So as comic fans like we are, we're used to reading glorified DC stuff of these gods, and now you just dulled them down to Will Smith is Deadshot. Ah, that's great, because it's Will Smith, right? So there's good thing, there's bad. With the X-Men movies, I absolutely hate Wolverine Origins. It is of any comic book movie at all, it is the worst. It's the worst. The cartoon Roger Rabbit claws that come out in the bathroom that have that Roger Rabbit look to them. And he cuts the sink, and he's like, oh, like he doesn't know what to do with his hands.
He's like sports Goofy with adamantium claws.
Yeah, so for me, I enjoy the X-Men films as standalone, completely separate from the comics. Different universe, different take.
Okay. Now, jumping back over here, with your discovery, I think it's really cool that you discovered Batman through the animated series. Chris, as I realize we're in an audio medium and not a visual medium.
For those watching at home.
Yeah.
Carl's pointing right now.
Yeah. What about it, like, grabbed you? And when you kind of started experiencing that world, did you kind of realize that it was so different from so much stuff that had come before it? Like, what about it kind of... Because we can look back at, Batman the Animated Series and say, this is the benchmark. This is the level by which anything animated is going to be measured as far as superhero goes. But, like, from that initial experience, what about it, like, grabbed you and kind of hooked you in?
Well, I think as a kid, it was the first superhero cartoon that I had seen that really was like... the animation was incredible. Like, I appreciated it even as a young kid, the painted backgrounds, the way the characters were drawn. But to me, it was the interactions between the characters. Like, the performance of the Joker. I mean, obviously you're not thinking this one now. What was I, 8, 9, 10 years old? I'm 2 years younger than you. So it was
that
about
was
the same age.
91-ish.
Yeah, about that. So
you're 8 or 9 years old.
8 or 9 years old.
Yeah.
But at watching it, I don't know what it was. I would sit in front of the TV and I would just watch it, and I'd record it on VHS and I'd just watch it over and over and over again. I hear the theme song in my head. We just actually, for our Geek Week over at Ingram, we had it on Batman Day. We were playing it on a big screen in one of the rooms that you could go in throughout the day and just sit and watch it. And watching it again, you remember all of the lines. Like, I think that's part of it, is I can remember. I haven't watched it in 10, 15 years, but sitting there, I can regurgitate lines from the Grey Ghost episode, or I've got Batman in my basement, or you know what I mean. So it's absolutely, and I didn't even realize until the other day that the Grey Ghost is actually voiced by
Adam West.
So it's all those little things, and it's the fact that, like, if you watch it today, it's one of the few cartoons from 20 some years ago that the animation and the visuals hold up. The performances hold up. You don't watch it and go, well, that part right there is going to move because it's painted different from the painted background. It's just, I think it's very well done. The storylines are very well done. They didn't hold back. It was a kids show, but they didn't hold back it being a kids show. There were still very adult themes, like you watch, or like me and John talk all the time. But my favorite character, period, in the Batman universe, or in most universes, Harley Quinn. I'm a nut for Harley. She came out of that cartoon. She was created specifically.
She came out just as that time you were getting in, so
right.
I can see how there's that.
And there's just
fandom there.
There's the scene where her and Ivy are shopping in a mall, and they run into Bruce,
yes.
And she goes, "Hey, wait a minute!" And she like covers up the top of her face or his face with her hand. She's like, "You look really familiar." It's just it's one of those things.
So, do you have a top 5 episodes?
My number 1 episode is The Grey Ghost. I love that episode.
That's my number 3.
That's your number 3?
Keep going.
The second one is I've Got Batman in My Basement. or as Marvel
Really?
likes to call it, Iron Man 3.
Didn't you poo-poo that episode, Carl?
I'm not the only one. That's surprising. I'm not knocking him for liking that, but that's widely considered to be like one of the weakest episodes of the series. But
I don't
hey,
know.
man,
I don't know
it's-
what it is. And again, it's just my memories as from being a kid.
Yeah.
I can't remember the names of most of the episodes.
I love
That's
the
my
Robin
Achilles heel.
one where
Robin's
goes,
Reckoning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Clayface episode.
The first one?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think it called Heart of Ice. The first time you
of
see
course.
Mr. Freeze. I just, it's usually the introduction of the villains. They did a really good job with the intros of the villains.
My top 5, Heart of Ice, Almost Got Him, the poker game episode,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
the one where they're all sitting around the table telling how they,
Grey Ghost, Pretends to Dream,
Oh, yeah, where he's
where
trapped in the dream
Mad
world.
Hatter traps
Yep.
Batman in
And
his
he's at the clock
ideal
tower.
world.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I can't remember the name of the episode. It was during the redesign season where Barbara's hallucinating, like she got killed by Scarecrow, and then she died like right in front of Commissioner. It was like a really dark episode for an animated series. She died like right in front of Commissioner Gordon, and then Gordon just goes after Batman, like calls Bruce Wayne in his home and is like, did you think I was a fool that I didn't know who you were? And then they just become outlaws, and of course the whole thing turns out to be a Scarecrow hallucination, but it's just a really good episode.
that was after, what was it, Batman the Animated Adventures?
Yeah, the new
Batman
the new
Animated
event,
Adventures?
when it went over to the WB network and it got the redesign, which Drew and I differ on.
Yeah, I hate it.
I like
Nightwing with the Tennessee top hat.
I like some of the redesigns. I don't like all of them.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
But I thought they nailed it the first time.
So I think it's funny because I think it's very generational that you guys cling to the Batman animated series, but for me, for me, it's the X-Men animated series. So
I grew up with that too.
Oh,
I just it didn't take the way the
see, and I think that might be
The
where my love of
storytelling-
X-Men. Yeah, they pulled
the
right from the
storytelling in
comics.
the X-Men
The Dark
series
Phoenix
was
saga.
great. Yeah.
They like took right from the comics.
Yeah, that was the storytelling in the X-Men series and the Spider-Man animated series was, like I said, it was off the page.
Yeah.
They were adapting it. Where they fell short was kind of the animation quality.
Yeah,
And that's where you see like
total difference.
the Batman animated series being so far and away ahead of that.
that and the visual design. Like the X-Men series was well done in that it was, like the Jim Lee designs and stuff, but the Batman animated series was just like a whole realized vision of Bruce Timm, and it it worked. And
What
it
it-
still works, whereas X-Men is kind of aged a little bit.
What do you think of the Justice League animated series then?
Love it. Any of the I'm a huge fan of the whole Bruce Timm Paul Dini run.
Okay.
Like Batman, Superman, Batman Beyond. Even though the villains are kind of weak in that show, how do you come up with new villains in a Batman universe and
Right.
make them stick? I always did like Shriek though. I
Yep.
thought Shriek was a really cool design.
Ink. I thought Ink was a cool design too.
Ink. As soon as I saw Ink, I started to like Ink when I read the Batman Beyond comics.
Okay.
I didn't like Ink in the show because I looked at her, I was like, it's female Venom.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
it's pretty much all I saw. But yeah, Justice League Unlimited, fantastic. But we're talking about themes of art here and getting back to the work you guys do. I'm always fascinated by the creative process. In a lot of ways, mainly because, you guys have your art, Drew has his music. I don't have anything on that level, which is why I've always been fascinated by the process and how everybody approaches their process differently. So tell us about your process, where it kind of started out at, how it's evolved, where it is now.
Like our style of art?
Your style, your process, how you approach doing different projects.
For us, I think because we do a lot of print work where we don't. So we've had people say we should always, like, the big thing is, like, when are you guys going to put out a book? Right? And we've talked about it. And we have several stories. I was a writer at one point, so I've written stuff. I've written plays that have been, produced, and so I was a television show writer for a little bit as well, I guess, cable access, right? So the writing part's not the problem. It's the storytelling of the small panels where we like to do bigger, full-on art pieces.
Yeah, drawing sequential is a lot different than just putting up a pinup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People don't realize you're essentially, you have to be a filmmaker in your mind, and you're basically storyboarding things out. So it's a lot of work.
And you sometimes have to draw a panel that's not very exciting. You just have to draw it to tell the story. And
here's the street with a car on it.
And then I think some of the guys who are putting out their own books, like Ben Grazzani, and like some of the stuff that he's doing, I think it's great and stuff like that. And I wish I had the patience for it. And I think that's just what it is. I know for me, and I think Chris is kind of the same way. We get an idea and we want to move on to that next idea. So like you get a print in our head, and good thing we're digital now, because a lot of things what we'll do is like you'll put in the iPad like, okay, this is where I'm going to lay out this one. And you leave it there knowing that you got to finish the other one first, but you just hop from one to the other. So working in digital now, the two of us, it has changed a lot. We both have iPad Pros that we use. So the process is, it's lots easier, because if you messed up on paper, you had to throw the whole thing out. You mess up on an iPad, you can just wipe out that, last section of it. It doesn't leave marks on the paper or anything like that. So it makes it a whole lot easier when it comes to that aspect. But like when we were Free Comic Book Day and we're drawing and sketching by hand on paper again, you get right back into the flow. So it varies, I think, from print to print. It's just whatever's inspiring us at that given moment. But we both tend to draw characters more that we enjoy. I tend to draw a lot of TV type stuff, and Chris is an excellent female artist, so he draws a lot of like
very J. Scott Campbell. I don't think I have more than a handful of male characters in my portfolio, and I think that came from some of the first artists that I really came to adore as a youngster, a lad, if you will, was like Mark Silvestri. The Witch. I have a folder of Witchblade, stuff like that, and I would mimic that. I would draw the covers, and that's where I learned proportions and stuff like that. And eventually you work your way into actually looking at anatomy and figuring out how to do it. But for a lot of, for me, I was copying artists that I admired when I was younger.
Me
Jim
too.
Lee, Mark Silvestri, things like that. So I don't know what it is. I just tend to gravitate more towards the female characters.
Yeah, and I like a lot of the Mexican artists like Paco Medina and Humberto Ramos.
I love him.
I love that blend between animation and realism, right? Like it's realism, but it's slightly askew like a cartoon. Yeah. Jim Lee can do anatomy, and I can do anatomy, right? But to be able to warp it a little bit and make it more dynamic is more fun.
Yeah, and I think the true testament of that is when you can do it and you as the reader, the viewer of the art, don't notice it. You just appreciate, like, you kind of, I don't want to say sneak it in there, but you are almost like accepting the art that's being presented to you as this is the visual reality of this spectrum, if I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
Drew's kind of looking at me like, where are you going with this, Hoss?
What does he mean exactly? I think maybe what you mean is if it's cohesive. It can be stylized, but as long as it looks like it all works together, then you accept it, I guess.
You can tell when an artist really understands. You have to, it's been told a million times, draw what you see, not what you know.
Yeah.
Your brain will try and make things work where it doesn't really work. If you understand the anatomy and the underlying, the right way to do it, then you can manipulate it and create a style that still makes sense. Like, J. Scott Campbell, for example, his style, if you look at it, you're like, well, that's a beautiful woman. But if you really examine it, his torsos are twice as long as they should be. The legs are twice as long as they should be. The faces are very angular. The anatomy is all in the right place, but he has put just a slight spin on it to make it, you can look at a page and go, I know who that is. Or same thing with Humberto Ramos. You look at a hand that Humberto Ramos drew, you can nail that's his work.
Ramos.
So
there's square and like everybody's got large feet, like Mickey Mouse type large feet.
Even the eyes. Like if you take a page full of characters and you cut out just their eyes and lay them out on a page, you can point out, that's a Scott Campbell, that's a Ramos, that's a Jim Lee.
Well, we could.
Comic fans who pay attention to that stuff could.
Right.
Yeah.
Ramos did a really, a while back, he did a run on a Spectacular Spider-Man series, and he did a really interesting take on Dr. Octopus, who's like my favorite Spider-Man villain. Whereas he made the tentacles more anatomically correct to what an actual octopus's tentacles are, and kind of put him in a trench coat, made him a darker character. And typically for something like that it's not something I get into, making characters not like visually darker, but he did it right, and it worked out really well. And that was a really great run. Are you reading Champions?
Yes.
Isn't it a great book? It's so good. I'm telling you got to read Champions.
And it's got Cyclops.
I got to read a lot of things, dude.
He's got the to read pile keeps growing.
Why don't let Lucas sit, because he's killing me here.
No, just Lucas.
Just Lucas. Hi.
Lucas is the show mascot.
Essentially, yeah, because he likes to come in, come out, come in, come out.
So, what... you, being a big X-Men fan...
Yeah.
Favorite X-Men draw?
Cyclops.
Favorite costume?
To draw?
That's a different question.
That is a tough question. I do enjoy Cyclops on every level, but to draw... I don't know. Magneto's fun. I like the helmet.
That's where we differ.
Wolverine's fun. Wolverine is fun.
You don't like Magneto, or you don't like that?
I love Magneto. I absolutely love Magneto, and Magneto was right.
Yeah.
But
Cyclops was right.
The characters that have helmets or masks that are featureless, like Batman or Iron Man or Black Panther, they are really hard to draw because there's no lines. You have to convey a shape with value, and for whatever reason, it's really difficult.
See, and then I like to, like, I will always say, like, I might have even learned how to draw eyes from watching Scooby-Doo. Remember in the beginning when all the eyes would pop up on the screen in the old... Yeah. So, like, that was, like, my first thing to learning to draw eyes was, like, how Scooby-Doo kind of drew everybody's differently. And sometimes I draw the irises and the pupils, and sometimes you don't. It depends. Like with Magneto, if he's got the helmet on, he's got no irises and pupils, so you just have the white, stark eyes in that darkness of the helmet because it gives it more of that cool look to it. Now I want to draw Magneto.
You could do it right now.
I could.
We're not going to stop you. Where do you find you start with a drawing? Is it different depending on what character you're drawing? Do you start at the same place every time? Where's the entrance ramp to the artwork?
To me, it's in you kind of see it in your head first, and I could see it in my head. Okay, I'm going to draw a Phoenix, and she's going to be in this pose. So then I go to the paper and I lay down the basic shapes, whether it be the circles really rough. Like you could look at it, it looks like a stick figure for the most part, and then it just kind of builds from there. And inevitably, never, ever, ever have I started something on paper and had it end up the way it was in my head, because I'll draw it and I'll be like, that arm doesn't look right there. And you move it, and then you get halfway through it and you're like, the perception's wrong. It's not right. So you change this, that, and the other, and it ends up almost completely different in most cases. So to answer your question short way, it all starts with a thought.
And I'm a stick figure guy. Like I draw the stick figure, and I like when people were coming up to us at Free Comic Book Day, I kept singing the song over. Everything starts with a circle, and like because I was just getting sick of drawing headshots so much, and I'm like, so like people would be saying, they're like, how do you do that? And I just started saying, everything starts with a circle, and like you just draw and I even grabbed a little kid's head. I'm like, because your head is a ball, and I grabbed his head and I like shook it a little bit. The parents were laughing, and I'm like, and you have a jaw, that's your bones. And I mean, for me, it's very much shapes and starts in like a stick figure world, and you build on top of it. But like, so one of the ways I learned to draw, aside from my grandfather teaching me a lot, was I had the How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way.
I have that book.
I rented the video from Blockbuster.
I have the VHS tape with Stan Lee and Sal Buscema, but it was terrible to watch because as a young artist, he's like, just draw a circle here, a line across from there, and then boom, it's old Shellhead. And you're like, how the heck did that happen? Because it was a circle and a line, and then it was Iron Man. And I'm like, there's like edits.
You're missing.
Yeah, like he was able to just, Sal Buscema
parts.
was like ridiculous, and he would just draw. So for me, it all, like, we use a lot. So I'll share a little summary here that viewers at home can't see. So I'm working on this one, which is going to be Jean Grey's Anatomy, and I took a Grey's Anatomy poster, and a lot of times what we'll do is we'll take like an image. Like this is going to be it is the Bad Boys 2 poster, but I'm going to turn it into Yondu and Peter Quill. Right, so I'll use that as a layout and then do like a framework on top of it. It's not tracing so much as it is helping with the layout of the page. So I'll use that sometimes as framework. It's just easier on an iPad. If I was drawing on a piece of paper, I'd have it next to me and you can graph it and scale it and do it that way. With the iPad, you could just visually drop the picture in. This is a picture of two people dancing, and that's going to be a Harley and a Joker. But I'll take the original image and then I'll skew it. I'll make it mine.
Yeah.
So like you stretch it, you bend it, you change the features and stuff like that. But it's using your references. You always use references. So, but like you could see, like some of my, like a lot of it is very sketchy. And, you know, figuring out what you're going to do. And you really have to like start at the very beginning. You can't just, the head is where you always start. I always start with the head and then you go right to the eyes. And then from there, I think it like builds off.
Cool. All right. Well, what is coming up for Under the Hood? Where can people find you guys? Where are your next appearances? Give us the rundown.
So our Facebook page is Under the Hood Artists. That's the best place to find everything you want to know under the hood. And it's doing well. And then the next show we have is Nickel City Con, which is in 9 days. So it's May 19th to the 21st. And it's at the Buffalo Convention Center. We have a huge setup. We have 3 tables. So we have a very large setup. I don't know if I'm allowed to say what booth number we are. We're booth number 113. So when you get a guide, and if you get a guide and it says you'll see booth number 113, that's us. So that's where we'll be next. We just, like we were saying, had Free Comic Book Day at Dave and Adams. After that, I don't know what's up next. We do summertime. We have been known to be seen at the East Aurora Chalk Walk. Okay. So last year, what did we do last year? What was our picture?
We didn't go last year, did we?
Oh no, it rained. It rained out. And the year before that, we did a Lego picture where it was like the TARDIS exploding and all the different characters. Like,
I think it was a play on Lego Dimensions, right?
Yeah. Well, I think actually we did it before Lego Dimensions existed.
Oh,
we came up with a whole bunch of different pop culture references. And we tried to figure out how we could do it in one. And we were like, let's put the TARDIS in the middle. So we had like the TARDIS in the middle and like every character like kind of flying out because it was right after the Lego movie had come out. And that's where kind of we got the inspiration from.
Well, then clearly Lego owes you some serious money
yes.
for their sales.
Yeah, well, that happens nonstop. Don't get me started on people stealing my ideas. That's nonstop. I have on my Uncanny X-Men t-shirt of Days of Future Past. And I redid this piece of work, but I did it with Beauty and the Beast and the Disney princesses. You can see that on our website.
That's awesome.
And then I'm at Hot Topic, and sure enough, there's a Rick and Morty one exactly like it with Rick and Morty and the different characters on the poster. And I'm like, I have an idea, and then it just spirals out of control.
All right. So, why do you say we talk some Guardians of the Galaxy?
Oh,
typically,
sure.
Dear listener, this is the part where we do we rustle the papers and we go into a breakdown of the Daredevil episode. This week we're taking a break for that. We're giving Matt a break. As you've come to know, new movie comes out that we all go and see. We generally like to discuss and review it. So, from this point out, if you have not seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2, please be aware there will be spoilers.
Yeah.
Stuff will be spoiled. And if you haven't seen it yet, why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
You really should.
So,
yeah.
Drew.
Yeah.
Last week, Thursday night,
Yeah.
we all went and saw Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yes, we did.
Go.
Go? Well, let's see.
It seems kind of weird to say, what'd you think?
Yeah,
because I kind of know it's done.
It's implied. Before we delve into it, I will say this much because I'm Mr. Miser about movie trailers. Every single trailer, I don't remember them really. I just remember watching them going like, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care,
Star
I don't
Wars.
care. Star Wars, but I've seen it, so whatever. Not that I'm not excited for it, but it's like it's the same teaser. Yay!
You don't see trailers for the first time in theaters anymore.
No, you really
don't.
don't. Yeah, I guess
And-
not. The internets have spoiled me. So, I will tell you this because I heard there were chatterings over by you and Alan. That was the best looking Wonder Woman trailer I've seen yet. So,
Really? Wow.
I'll-
Saying
so I'll
something nice about a
I'll-
DC movie.
I'll give you that. There's actual color in it. It looks like it has a pulse.
They
Good job.
They did remember the color this time.
Let me nitpick that I don't like the glorification of her lusting over a sword instead of the lasso, but hey,
And
this is the universe that Zack
day
Snyder
Wonder
built,
Woman
and
is
we have to have death. So.
Modern day Wonder Woman is full blown Amazonian warrior.
Fair enough.
Sword and shield and all.
Yeah.
So
In any case, I want to get that out of the way.
Okay,
That looked, dare I say, good. Not say I'm going on opening weekend or anything,
I
but
heard something on a podcast this week
yeah,
that gives me some little extra fear because this is looking like it's going to be good. From
Could
my
be.
opinion, it looks like it's
got
gonna
a
be-
shot.
It looks like, to me, everything I've seen has got me excited about the film. I'm trying to separate it from everything that's come before and give fresh start.
Yep.
Fresh start. This is what I heard on our podcast. It could be like one of the great superhero films, but you could kill that if at the end of the movie, I don't think they'll do this, but you could kill the movie if Wonder Woman is saved by a guy with no powers. If at any point in the film Steve Trevor saves Wonder Woman,
based on the trailer,
Well-
I don't think you got to worry about that.
But also in comics and TV, Steve sometimes did save Wonder Woman.
He did.
Steve's like not
There's-
a dolty like
I'm not.
like
I'm not saying
he's
he
an
is
American soldier. I
But
mean,
again, we're talking about a modern Wonder Woman here.
sure.
I think
She saves him like 6 times in the trailer alone.
Right,
so
right.
you know,
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
So
We'll
but
see.
yeah, Wonder Woman,
there you
looks-
go. I want to get that out of the way.
Okay.
So Guardians
Guardians
is great.
Agreed.
is someone at
Guardians 2 is great.
Yeah. Someone at work asked me to describe Guardians 2. I said like this. Guardians 2 is like riding a roller coaster while drinking the best margarita you've ever had, and it won't spill while you're listening to your all-time favorite album.
It's not bad.
It's that level of fun.
And where I've seen a lot of reviews actually kind of say like, it's not as good as the first one. And I've since we've seen it, I'm thinking about that a lot. And I'm like, I disagree. I think it might be as good as the first one, if not better, depending on what you're after.
Yeah.
I'll say this: if you like the first one, you're gonna like the second one because you're gonna like it. If everything you liked about the first one is back in the second one, there's no way you're gonna be like, well, I don't like that anymore. Yes, you do. Stop it. But the second one, I'm really finding myself, the more I dwell on it or think about it, the second one, I am so impressed with how it was written. Every single character gets a really fulfilling and frankly heartfelt and oftentimes tear-jerking arc in the movie. Everyone. No one gets left out. That's tight. That's super tight writing.
Even Taserface.
Even Taserface.
Do you know who plays Taserface?
No.
Do you watch This Is Us? Or you've seen the commercials?
My wife does.
Right. Yes. All of our wives watch it, but we don't watch it. But we've been in the room, and there's the couple where it's the bigger girl and the bigger guy.
Yeah, that's
the
that
bigger guy is Taserface.
I never would have guessed that.
I know.
That's amazing.
My wife is always like, in tears, like, you should watch this
Yeah.
show. I'm like, I've had enough family tragedy in
Yeah.
real life.
Yeah.
I don't need it in my viewing.
Well, Guardians.
Well, that's
Spoilers.
It's all about the package.
We'll get there. Okay. But yeah, everybody gets really good stuff to do. And like everyone gets really big moments that push their character forward and push their little stories forward. It's really impressive.
I think one of the main reasons why a lot of those reviews are saying, it's good, now it's good, because the discovery is
Sure.
not there this time around. These characters. A lot of these reviewers, they've never heard of Guardians of the Galaxy, and you discover that instantly in the first one.
Yeah. Totally. It caught everybody by surprise. So there's no way to really surprise everyone again. So what do they do instead of trying to we got to shock them? We have to shock. We need something to shock everybody. They just said James Gunn, who I can't believe they've given this guy this much control over a franchise, but they have, and that's it's awesome. He just doubled down on the characters, and that's the heart of the whole movie is the characters. The story is almost like paper thin.
It's very Empire, right? Like Star Wars, you got introduced to all the characters, fun Star Wars. Empire, emotional stuff,
depth. Yeah.
father issues, all this other stuff.
You have
Totally.
kind of splitting up the heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very Empire, and everybody always says Empire is just as good, if not possibly even better.
Empire's my favorite.
Empire
I'm
is
just gonna
the
put
best.
that.
Empire's
Thank you.
the best.
So, like, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 will be ruined by Ewoks.
It's possible.
Or a
biggest complaint-
planet of baby Groots, probably, singing Lumdy Lumdy Lie.
The biggest complaint that I've heard from a lot of people is that they expected it to move forward the MCU, and it doesn't.
I'm glad it didn't.
I am too.
Same here.
I didn't need to.
No.
Yeah, absolutely did not need to. It was a great origin story. They changed Peter's origin story a little bit. I was a little bit nervous how they were going to handle the whole ego thing, but overall, I think they did really, really well. I mean, Kurt Russell knocked it out of the park. And
It's Kurt Russell.
It's Kurt Russell.
It's
I
Kurt
mean,
Russell.
you know what I
Par for
mean?
the chorus, man.
We are the buzzing of flies to him.
But they wrote it really well, and even all the little nuances they put in, like spoiler, towards the end when you see the planet and it starts to come to life.
Yeah.
It looks just like it's
Yeah,
been
you see
drawn
the
in
face,
the past.
yeah,
The colors,
yeah,
the
yeah,
face,
yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
So they did a really good job.
And we've got, in this movie, we have another instance of Marvel's favorite new toy, which is
Oh, their time machine?
de-aging older actors.
No, they have a
And
time
it-
machine.
and
They
it
just go
looks
back and
great.
they grab
Yeah, they just-
It
Kurt
looks
Russell from the
fantastic.
80s.
He was about to walk on set, Escape from New York, and they were like, "Kurt, come here." And they just like conked him
I
on
think
the
it's
head.
even before that. He looked a little too full face. That was like the boy who wore computer that wore tennis shoes type stuff.
It's a really complicated process. I watched a documentary how they did it with Robert Downey Jr. It's not just them computer animating it. They're actually taking scans off of digital film from his older movies and kind of overlaying. It's really cool. They stitch it all together.
So they've come a long way since X3, you're saying.
Yeah, oh yeah. I like to think we have come a long way as a society. Since
Yes. Well said. Yeah, it's pretty fantastic. And like I was worried that I was going to get sick of Baby Groot very quickly. No, he's great.
No, you know what?
It's just enough.
We get the question finally answered why he doesn't like people with hats too. Like,
It's true.
Yeah,
that was fantastic. That's the reason you don't like hats.
I think what was because you heard a lot going into the film. Oh, Baby Groot is just marketing so they can sell toys. And you know what? Yeah, a lot of that's true. But you know what? I don't care because it was so much fun.
Yeah, and he didn't dominate the screen,
No,
or it
he
wasn't
didn't.
too much. It wasn't.
And like any fear you could have had, like, oh, it's just going to be a 2-hour movie of Baby Groot dancing or whatever. Well,
Yeah.
they just,
It's the
you know
first
what?
5 minutes of
James
Baby
Gunn
Groot
knew
dancing.
you were going to think that.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm just going to start the movie with that then. We'll get it out of the way.
And I said, like, you could have done that opening sequence, turn off the movie, and said, "That's it, folks." I'd be like, "All right, I'm good."
I
Have
thought
a good
that
day,
was
everybody.
super clever. Like, with all the action going on in
Yeah.
the background, all that was great.
Yeah, they didn't have to film any of that other action. So, like, there should be, like, on the special features, the other angle where you watch the fight and you just see Groot dancing on the ground. Yeah, like if the camera's not at him.
Oh god, so much fun.
I think the dancing, though, even played a bigger part of the overall storyline because
Little bit,
it comes
sure.
up numerous times. Like, Drax says to Peter, she's somebody who doesn't dance and you are somebody who does.
Yeah.
Like they use dancing as a metaphor of like what type of person you are. And I think that's even a carryover from the dance off from the end of the first one where he's like, dance off, and he points to Gamora and she's like, no, what are you
Well, the opening scene of the first one was a dance number too.
Yeah.
It was almost the opening scene. But Peter,
Even though the music choices in the movies aren't like the stuff that I listen to on a regular basis, I just love the fact that music is such an important part of the movies.
Oh, yeah.
And not just like layered on top. Like as
well, it's
you
an
can
important
see,
part of the team.
right?
Yeah.
As you can see from like I don't know the Suicide Squad trailer, putting a pop song over the top of things doesn't make it like Guardians.
No.
Guardians intertwines the music into its story and into its characters. It's like Rocket's like, hey, I'm hooking up the stereo so we can play music while we beat the big space
Yes.
slugs. That's awesome.
When they take out, spoiler, the Ravagers.
Yeah.
Do you have any of old Quill's old music? Like Rocket likes
Yeah.
the music.
Yeah.
Like he wants to work to the music. That's kind of like what I figured out later on. Is you're like, oh, he's not doing it because Peter likes it. He likes it as well.
Right.
Yeah.
When he's fixing the ship and he's like, and he's like singing along with it too. Like, there's lots of times where I feel like music is used as like almost a character in the movie.
It really is, and that's cool. It's to me, it's super cool as a musician. I love it.
I loved how at one point in the film it just turns into a old Warner Brothers Bugs Bunny Elmer Fudd cartoon. The scene with Rocket and the Ravagers,
Yeah.
all the traps and everything, and then you see the pullback shot. The guy's just bouncing up in the air on one side, bouncing up in the other side. I love that. It was so great. I was like, this is a freaking Bugs Bunny cartoon right now, and it's awesome.
Not to mention the facial gags when they're jumping through space and time.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
500
cartoon.
jumps or whatever that they have to do
Yeah.
to get to Ego. Yeah, pretty cool.
Go on. That reminds me.
Yeah.
We ran in at our screening.
Yeah.
We ran into some technical difficulties.
Yeah,
The sound in the theater cut out.
at
it cut
several
out
points in the
at
movie.
Two very important points, so maybe you guys can fill us in. It cut out at the Stan Lee cameo.
Oh, okay.
So if you guys could tell us what Stan was saying to the Watchers, that would
Spoilers.
be
The
appreciated.
freaking Watchers.
it's the,
So watch-
the first
yeah, we
part
can
or
get
the
to that.
post-credit scene?
The first part.
I know what he said because I've
What
seen
is
it
it?
twice now.
What was he saying?
As like they come through, he's like, so that time I was a FedEx delivery guy. So he's clearly talking about Civil War and when he was delivering the to Tony Stank.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, and I was so rudely before I was so rudely interrupted because they jumped
Yeah.
through past him. Yeah. So that's all he says.
So James Gunn is confirming the fan theory that Stan Lee is the same guy in every single movie.
He is a
That's
watcher.
awesome.
Yep.
Well, I didn't say he's a watcher, but he is the same character in every movie.
So
Fair
yeah,
enough.
let's talk about the Watchers.
So I've-
was
Alan clarified something about that to me yesterday.
okay.
How Fox and Marvel and
Yeah, because
So-
it's pretty safe to assume the Watchers are part of the Fantastic Four.
they are.
film.
Well, here's the thing: Uatu, the Watcher. Fox has him. The Watchers, the General
Okay.
Watchers, as long as they're unnamed, Marvel can use them.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, kind of weird.
I was wondering if there were any kind of trade swaps going on, whatnot.
Not that I know of with that, but Alan. This is coming from Alan, though, so you can blame him if it's wrong. But I'm trusting.
That sounds right, though.
But Alan,
Yeah.
proved us wrong at your place on Cinco de Mayo. So he called out the trade for Ego for Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Yeah,
And I didn't believe him. I was wrong. Alan was right.
yeah.
So anyway, the other critical moment, and I kind of got the gist after the fact, but the sound dropped out for a good 3 minutes during the big pivotal scene where Yondu and Rocket have their big heart-to-heart and
that's
route back.
Yeah, I actually wanted
we
to.
kind of missed
3
all that.
minutes of no sound. It wasn't no sound. It was just no dialogue.
Yeah,
All the other sound
dialogue
effects
channel
were gone.
died.
So while they're talking to each other?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow,
I actually
that's-
wanted to bring up Michael Rooker and Yondu because
he's awesome.
oh man, I like Michael Rooker before, but they knocked it out of the park. His performance was incredible.
His whole character arc was fantastic.
He channeled
From
the
the
Merle.
very last, from the end,
Yeah.
when he turned awesome.
Final season Merle.
That whole scene was basically, and I was worried they were going to spoil it with a cheap joke at the end of it, but they didn't. They let you, tear it up. It was Yondu addressing Rocket because throughout the whole movie, Rocket had been purposely being a jerk to try and push people away, and Yondu calls him out on it. He's like, "I know you." He's like, "You're talking to a guy whose parents sold him into slavery as a baby, and this, that, and the other." He's like, "I know you, because I'm you." And that's where Rocket kind of is like.
And then Rocket says, "What a duo we make."
Right.
And then he's like, what type of duo? What will they do with the duo of us or something? He's like, well, I guess we're the kind that's going to go fight a planet. And Rocket's like, yeah, wait, what? A planet? And because he doesn't realize at this point.
And then it turns into a Quentin Tarantino scene where they, the whole escape with the guys falling. That was awesome.
Yeah.
The slow motion
Can we
guys
address
falling
the
in
body
background.
count in this movie, by the way?
Baby Groot kills a guy.
Yes, he does. Toddler
Killed
Groot. Let's
a
call
guy.
toddler.
With a trident.
Groot killed a guy. The baby? You let a baby kill a guy?
Yeah, so Yondu murdered like 100 people with his arrow in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If not more.
On camera.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay,
and
Marvel.
Rocket helped him by
Rocket
taking out a
started
couple
getting
too.
in it. Yeah.
This is where some DC dude is listening to the show like, how come they can do it, but when DC does it, you think it's dark and disturbed?
Difference in characters.
Because they were playing Jay and the Americans Come a Little Bit Closer while they did it. So it wasn't so dark and gritty, and they were laughing while they did it. It was a good old time.
I think
It's all in the
worst-
presentation, folks.
worst part
Like
was
we
when
said
they-
earlier, execution.
The worst part was when they were spacing guys. I don't know. I
Oh,
liked
yeah.
the scene with the arrow. That was cool, but I think it got really dark while they were
Just
spacing
dropping
guys
the
out of
bodies
airlock.
outside, and you
Yeah.
like if you looked, it was like a trail of them, like they
Slow
had been doing.
motion freezing
Yeah.
death. It was terrible.
That was tough.
So, I really have only one, and I even hesitate to say mark against the film. But it's not so much with Guardians as it is with probably. It started with the original Avengers. We love post-credit scenes.
Yeah.
Post-credit scenes are great. You
All
get
five
five
of
of them in this one.
And it sounds excessive, but they're all good.
They're all great.
And the way they intersplice them works. So
I mean, come on. Teen Groot?
Teen
hey,
Groot.
Hey, Groot.
You're boring.
just sticky pollen all over his all over his room.
The post-credit scenes, I really enjoy them when they led into what the next
Agreed.
film was going to be. Like, we've commented how
Yeah.
we really enjoy the Guardians doesn't build to the next Marvel film. It seems like Marvel films, as of late, the film itself is what builds to the next film and doesn't worry so much about telling its own story. Like, example, Iron Man 2 told its own story. It told Tony's story. It was self-contained. Yes, it's part of a bigger picture, but it told its own story. And then the post-credit scene is Coulson going to New Mexico and finding Mjolnir, finding Thor's hammer. They're not doing that as much anymore, and I kind of want them to get back to that.
Well, I thought Guardians, the first one, had like one of the most pivotal end credit scenes. The first one with Thanos grabbing the gloves, saying, "Fine,
Yeah.
I'll do it myself." Like that was like, bah, that just led to everything. So you waited for something like that at this one. Like it could have been anything. It could have led into Ragnarok. Like they put Jeff Goldblum in the end credits,
Dancing in the end
credits, but he's nowhere else in the film, and he's listed in the credits as it goes down too.
Yeah, I was hoping one of the post-credit scenes was going to be Banner or the Hulk landing on the planet to go right into Ragnarok. And I again, we
kind of like how Ant-Man did Winter Soldier, or
it did Winter Soldier and set up its own sequel as well. Just like the post-credit scenes are still good, I still enjoy them. Just would like kind of more connective tissue between them. Like we get a setup for Guardians 3 and
we do.
Avengers Infinity. Well, at least I hope in Avengers Infinity War he shows up in it.
The word is he's not. So we're talking, of course, about Adam Warlock.
Yeah, Adam Warlock. You see his
cocoon.
cocoon. They're just going to call him Adam.
Yeah.
How genius of is, by the way, for the Enlightened to just use kind of drone
The Sovereign?
ship, the Sovereign, to use like essentially video game attack ship.
It even
That's so
sounded like an
smart.
old video
Yeah,
game.
they used the old video game. The sounds, it was cool.
I'm wondering if it was a specific game that they.
It sounded
duplicated.
a lot like Galaga. I'm not going to lie, but I could be wrong.
So yeah, that's my only.
I'm fine that they didn't. Honestly, we got Spider-Man coming in shortly. Thor's going to be out in November. We have plenty of connective tissue to go around. It's
All right.
and I think Marvel is at the point where they've trained the audience so well that they know the audience knows what's coming. So there's less of a need to kind of put stuff there to kind of get you to the next flick.
Yeah.
I think they know you're going anyway.
I could see that. I could see that. I love the fact that, interesting fact, I learned this today, the production could not find any working Sony Walkmans.
Really?
Yeah, because, well, think about it. First movie comes out, it's got a Sony Walkman in it. What's making a comeback, Drew? Cassette tapes.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Hipsters.
Can I interject before you continue? Can I interject something
So
great
angry
right now?
about it.
I'm not.
I grew up with
hipsters.
cassettes. They sucked then.
Yeah,
they suck now. Don't no.
So
It's not like vinyl where there's like a redeeming audio quality to it. Tapes suck. They sound like crap. They're garbage.
yeah. So
Go on.
the production could not find any working Sony Walkman. Drew has some anger issues. I don't know if you guys have heard this before.
Don't listen to him.
So they literally had to build one for the film. So I guess that wasn't like a working Sony Walkman. How funny is it the next thing is a Zune?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That was so...
Let me tell you what. I had a Zune.
Of course.
Better
it
than the
is.
iPod.
Of course it is.
Anything. There's no
Drew
no
hates
DRM
iPod.
on it. You can drag and drop on and off of it. It doesn't oversync your
I think the biggest problem with it was that it was an actual spinning drive that you were supposed to be carrying around with you.
I got a little flash one.
Well, that was the second generation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
So the question is, I wonder for the third film, which has been confirmed, Gunn is directing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
His entire family will be back again.
It's,
His family, like Kraglin is his brother.
Kraglin's his brother. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. The little pink girl in the sphere when he meets life on Earth is his niece. That was on an Instagram post. They showed that. And the old couple in the van that almost gets killed by the blob on Earth is his parents.
That's sweet.
Oh, that's cool.
And his dad is dancing in one of the bubbles on the bottom of the thing, too. Yeah.
didn't want to do a mutiny.
Yeah, yeah. Kraglin was great. I love just even the part where like, what are you gonna do with your share? And and she goes into the whole going against her sister and getting Thanos. He's like, I thought you'd just get like a pretty hat or a necklace, so make all the other girls be like, ooh, that's pretty.
My wife's elbowing me throughout the movie. She's like, "It's the guy from Gilmore Girls."
Yeah, yeah. He's from Gilmore.
Yes, it is, honey.
Who would have ever thought a trauma director would now be like a Hollywood big shot at this point, with enough trust from Marvel Studios to write and direct not one but two movies?
And you can even see his influence on Ragnarok.
Oh, clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't fully write the first one.
He didn't, but
He came in and cleaned up the script, and obviously it's the
he
first
did it
one
his
is-
style, though,
yeah.
clearly. And the second one, like, they gave him free reign.
Yeah.
That's, again, in the Marvel world, as we've heard from many people that drop in and out, you got to play by Marvel's rules, and you kind of got to cede control to the studio, yada yada. But no, James, no, let him do what he wants.
Well, maybe James stuck as more close to the the source material, so that's why Marvel was like, yeah, you're good, keep going what you're doing. Whereas like other people are like, I want to make Ant-Man, but have him be in space, and like, but no ants are involved. Actually, it's like metaphorical.
Yeah.
Like, get out of here, you can go.
Well, I think the first Guardians was Marvel's first real gamble.
And he paid it off, so maybe
Yeah.
he got some.
So he
got
probably
some
got
cachet
some
there.
Yeah. All right. So we have, as far as franchises within the Marvel brand, we have Iron Man, Thor, Cap, Avengers, and Guardians.
Yeah.
I think we could probably safely say, as much as I enjoy them, Thor and Avengers, as far as franchises, not really in the conversation. Which franchise do you think is performing the best right now?
Of the Marvel ones?
I think that's kind of... Well, it's easy in my head.
Because for me, it comes down between Cap and Guardians.
In terms of the quality of the films?
Yeah, just as like
or box
taking
office.
them. No, I'm not talking about box office.
Oh,
I'm
just
talking
quality.
about, yeah, quality as far as like
Cap and Guardians.
A franchise within the Marvel.
Cap and Guardians easily.
Absolutely.
And we get a new Wasp and Iron Man or Ant-Man next year.
Yeah.
So that grows into having 2 parts now, and
When's Black Panther?
this year.
Soon.
This year too?
Yeah.
November.
No.
Thor-
That soon?
Thor's November.
Can't be.
No, Black Panther might be next year. Though.
Yeah, Black Panther
next
is
year.
2018.
Got to be next
Yeah.
year.
And is
Because
that's all before Infinity War, right?
yeah, you know
Yeah.
what? Because
Yep.
Black Panther was supposed to be this year, but then they swapped Spider-Man with Black Panther when
Right.
they did that deal. So, but of Guardians and Cap, which one are you going to put on top there?
I still say Cap only because Winter Soldier is still, for me, the best Marvel film yet.
I love that movie.
And I love Guardians. I love Guardians, and I love all these movies. But Winter Soldier for me is still like Marvel. That movie blew me away when I saw it in so many ways.
Yeah.
The tone, the execution. That movie's like perfection, and
The fact that they quoted Pulp Fiction.
that helps too. Oh God, does that ever help? But no, yeah, Winter Soldier is still like my top of the list. But
All right.
the Guardians flicks are right up there. So
Cool. John?
Yeah, I'd go with Winter Soldier, and I'm a huge fan of Civil War too. I loved the team, the camaraderie.
Yeah.
You know, the animosity between Falcon and Bucky, like that was fantastic between the two of them. So Civil War.
Don't forget the kiss scene when he kisses
Yeah,
Sharon.
where he's like, yeah. Can you move your seat up? No.
No. I hate you.
Yeah, the whole thing when the two of them take on Spider-Man and they both end up stuck with you. Like, it's just, that one is just, that to me is a great comic book movie.
Totally.
Like, that
Yeah.
that's how comic book movies should be. Winter Soldier is a great movie. It's not even a comic book. It's just
It's
great
a spy thriller.
Yeah, it's a
essentially.
spy thriller. It's a soldier. It's an army, whatever you want to call it, with a little bits of superhero thrown in. And Guardians is sci-fi fantasy, right? It's today's, our kids, it's their Star Wars, right? It won't probably hit the same marketing aspect of all the toys and the characters and stuff like that, but absolutely I think it's definitely the modern age Star Wars.
Yeah, then modern day kid toys tend to suck.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They're not nearly as good as they used
They
to
have
be.
way better Nerf guns than we did, though.
They really
oh
do.
God, that's
They
so
really
true. Like, you want a Nerf sniper rifle with a infrared scope and a silencer, you can get it. What did we have back in our day? We had like the tube where you had to push the shaft in. It shot out a ball.
I had a football.
Shot
at
it like 3 feet, maybe. Jeez.
Yeah, you can buy a Nerf big wheel now with guns mounted on the handle. I'm not lying about that.
That is
Google
awesome.
that Nerf
Yep.
big wheel.
Getting
It's
that for my
got
son.
mounted artillery.
Getting that for my son. What do you think as far as the?
I would agree 100%. I think it's Winter Soldier, followed by Guardians 2 specifically for me.
Age of Ultron.
Yeah, I mean, not that it was bad. There were holes and things that I didn't understand.
Yeah, Marvel has not made a bad film.
Right.
Some of the
There's questionable choices
There's
in
a
there.
spectrum and like things.
Well, how
like,
far back are we going? You're
No, I'm
you're saying
talking-
phase one.
I'm-
Careful what you say. Marvel has not made a bad film.
I'm talking like,
Punishers are movies.
No.
No.
The
Marvel
Studios.
Studios.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like Thor,
Iron Man 3? We're
Thor
okay with
2,
Iron Man 3?
Iron,
liked
Man
Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3 is a lot better on a second viewing.
I liked it the first
I
time
like
around.
Thor 2. Am I the only one that liked it?
I
It's not-
like Thor 2.
I'm not saying they're bad movies. I'm not saying they're bad movies. Iron Man 3, Thor 2, Avengers 2, while on the weaker end of the spectrum by Marvel standards, are still way
Super
better
watchable
than
quality flicks.
95% of the other comic book films out there.
Absolutely. Before we forget, you mentioned Michael Rooker, how much we all love Michael Rooker. Did we spoil that, man?
We told
we
people
didn't.
there was going to be spoilers.
Okay.
They
Dude.
got fair warning.
He's Mary Poppins.
Yondu,
Who knew?
Poppins.
Mary Poppins.
He's Mary Poppins.
Is he cool?
Yo.
Yeah, he's cool.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. That ruled so hard. That probably got the most rise out of the theater. That line alone,
Yeah.
that was awesome.
Just
But-
Peter's look on his face too, like, ha!
Like-
Like you look like Mary Poppins.
But that whole relationship.
Yo.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
They tied it up really well. Like he was like a trope character in the first one. There was always something weird about how he talked to Peter and their relationship, and they tied it up really nicely.
They paid it off.
It was a huge payoff, and you had something in both eyes. It was,
And it wasn't like they pulled that out of left field either. Like that, he let Peter skate a lot in the first flick,
yeah.
and they brought that as a plot point into the second one. The Ravagers thought he was getting soft because
Yeah.
he let Peter get away with it. Well,
Yeah.
it turns out, spoilers, he let him get away with it because he saved Peter's life from Ego.
And he looked at him as like he looked at
That's
him as
his
he
son.
was his
Yeah.
son. Yeah,
And then-
he raised him.
He may have been your father, but he wasn't your dad.
Oh, dude,
Oh,
Oh, that gave me chills just
right in
you
the
saying it.
feels. Oh.
the feels were brought in this movie so hard, dude. The
Yeah.
funeral scene was like up there with Spock's funeral.
Yeah. Is it? bad?
Spoilers: Yondu died, and I was really sad actually.
Dun, dun. Yeah,
Is-
it was awesome. It was really good though.
And all the Ravagers came out, and they gave him the Ravager
How awesome
funeral.
was the original Guardians of the Galaxy showing up?
Yeah,
That was cool.
That was such a deep cut. It's so deep cut that like after
I had
that
to
the
explain
movie,
it to him.
I was like, Drew, who's Stallone playing? I'm not quite
Starhawk,
sure.
man.
So the Crystal Head guy.
Ving Rhames is Charlie 27.
Do you know who the
Was
Crystal?
Yeah.
Michael Rosenbaum was the Crystal Head guy. He's the Flash from Justice
Flash
League
from
animated.
Justice League.
He was Lex
Luthor
Luthor
from
on Smallville.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you're going to tell me you're going to put Ving Rhames in the Marvel movies, I'm okay. Yes, let's do more of this, please.
Yes.
So now they have the OG Guardians team on screen. Can we get that movie too?
We'll probably.
Maybe
I'd
that's what
watch
Guardians
it.
3
I
is.
don't-
I think Stallone was great.
I don't think Marvel's going to spend the Stallone, Ving Rhames, Michelle Yeoh money
Come on,
to
spend the
only
money.
use them on just this
All right.
5 minutes of film time. I think we might see them in Guardians 3.
Ew.
Stop. No.
That's great. Come on, man.
We
More
don't
Stallone?
No, love Stallone. Stallone's great. Not for Starlight.
Oh, come on.
No. No, it's totally wrong.
What is
It's-
it? So Stallone and Yondu were in Cliffhanger together,
Yes.
and that was Michael Rooker's first film, I think.
But
Too.
let's just not forget the most obvious throwback: Stallone and Kurt Russell, Tango and Cash.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And they didn't get a scene together, though.
Tango and Cash were in the same. We got a sequel to Tango and Cash finally.
Oh,
Kind of.
Shang Shang. Don't you know ponytails are out this season?
Oh, it was good, though.
Where is he? Where's the governor?
Great. Guardians 2, man, was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Good
The
time.
last scene of the movie was Rocket crying. And they
Yeah.
cut.
Cut. Yeah, that shocked
Oh, my
me.
God. I'm telling you, they gave James Gunn so much rope, and he could have hung himself, and no, he
delivered.
nailed
Did
it.
really good.
They put so much faith in him, and it totally paid off.
Alrighty. I guess I think we've said all we can.
We've said it all.
I think there's obviously we could keep talking about Guardians, but there's only so long people are willing to listen to us. They might be
Probably.
willing to listen a little longer because we have esteemed guests.
Yeah.
but
Steamed.
But as
Did
far
you hear that?
but as
I don't
far
know
as-
what it means. is that worse or better? It's way worse.
It's way worse.
You trash panda.
Is it bad that I've started
Triangle face
calling,
monkey.
Is it bad that I've started calling my 1-year-old son my cute little trash panda?
No, it's awesome.
Is that bad?
Oh,
Okay.
big props to Nebula too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked her in the first. I told you I thought she was underrated in the first one.
Amy Pond from Doctor Who.
I didn't even watch Doctor Who, but whoever she is,
Yeah.
she's great.
Oh.
She's great as Nebula.
Google her. You will enjoy it.
All right. Family shows her.
I was like, that's the most impressive part is how many subplots were created and then successfully resolved
Right.
within that movie. Not even a cheesy handoff at all. Everything tied up nicely, and it was really well done. That, to me, was super impressive.
It's a super tight script, and everybody got to shine. It's like I said, people want to compare the two movies, 1 and 2. I think 2 is just it's tight.
Yeah.
It's super tight.
They're on the same level. I love them.
And we didn't even talk about Dave, man.
Yeah.
Dave Bautista.
Oh,
I booed him at the Rumble.
you
I'm
did
sorry
boo him
about
at
that,
the
Dave.
Rumble.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, jeez,
Batista, if you're listening to this show, I'm so sorry I booed you at the Rumble, man.
I'm sorry. No, we're gonna go a little longer because that reminded me. I totally forgot. You, sir, went to WrestleMania
I
this year.
did go to WrestleMania. My first
I'm so
WrestleMania.
sorry.
My first. Why?
Because the experience, I'm sure, was amazing.
It was.
The card was terrible.
Drew loves wrestling.
I enjoyed it. Again, I like bad things. So
Well, the WWE is your jam.
it is. It always has been. I've survived this long.
So just give us like a brief rundown of like what that experience is like.
God.
Did you do the whole weekend or just the one
The whole
show?
weekend we were there.
Awesome.
So we went Saturday. We went to Access.
Did you go to NXT TakeOver?
No, I don't have that much money to do all of that, and we did not stay for Raw the next night either. So as much as here's the problem. So here's the problem. Loved it. Would I go again? Probably not. Why? Because the fans that are there are a lot of D-bags, because it's like 90% guys who want to criticize everything and not just enjoy the experience.
I have no idea what that could possibly be like.
So I know, like how we say there's hipsters. There's the coffee hipster. There's beer hipsters.
Yeah.
There's wrestling hipsters. Oh, well, the NWO did that first, and that was so much better when Stone Cold did that. Like, okay, yeah, we get it. It's been going a long time. So it was enjoyable, and for me, because a fan since I was a child, I watched WrestleMania 1, right? Like, I remember watching it and running over to a neighbor's house because they had the only cable box that could get it.
Yep.
So watched WrestleMania 1, have seen every single one of them, worked for the cable company for years, so I had to help get them on the air for pay-per-views and stuff like that. To go and experience it was like boyhood dream come true, cue the Vince McMahon line. It was fantastic. Did everything that we could, went to Access all day long. So we did not meet anyone. So the lines, the way it works
stories for you.
Yeah, so you got in line, and what would happen was you'd get in line and they would swap out while you were in midline. The lines were really long.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. So we got in line to meet Beth Phoenix because we were going to have her sign her program. And we're like, oh, she's from
Buffalo's
Buffalo.
own.
Yeah.
We're from Buffalo. We wanted to say hi. We're waiting in line. They swapped her out with Mick Foley.
That's not bad.
I have met Mick Foley so many times.
Oh, never mind.
That Mick Foley knows my name.
Okay.
I sat and watched a baseball game with Mick Foley. So
He probably doesn't remember that, but
no, he saw me at Mania and he was like, "Hey," and he's like, "It's that guy from Buffalo that follows me around everywhere." So we were in line and we got out of line. My daughters were in line to meet Alexa Bliss, and they're like, "Oh my god!" They swap out with Nia Jax. Everybody got out of line.
Oh, poor
it went
Nia.
from full 5 rows of people waiting in line, her coming up to the table, to 1 row of people waiting.
see, that's
there.
a shame.
It's not a shame. She's terrible.
And wait, hang on.
She's terrible.
Hang on.
She's not a good wrestler.
The guy who just said that he hates people criticizing the product is going to crap on Nia Jax, who got called up too early from developmental because she's The Rock's cousin.
Exactly, and she doesn't know how to take a bump. She can't sell for crap.
Listen to this wrestling hipster over here.
Listen, my favorite guy is Chris Jericho, so I'm not a hipster.
I love Chris Jericho.
Okay, you can't not love Chris Jericho. So WrestleMania was fantastic. I had a great time.
I went to the one in Toronto many years ago.
Nice.
Was that 18, 19? 18 or 9?
18.
That was my only Mania.
I thought you said you'd never been to one.
But I've been to a Mania, been to a Rumble. I've never been to a Survivor Series or a SummerSlam.
I have not been to a Rumble, and that's our goal next year because it's
the
in
Rumble
Philadelphia.
is awesome.
Yeah.
You will have a good time.
Yeah.
Except
That's my favorite
unless
pay-per-view of the
someone
year.
that you don't like wins in the three.
It's still a good time.
Yeah.
And you boo them, and they become
Roman Reigns will
really
win.
awesome.
Roman
character.
Reigns will win again.
Yeah, he will. He'll win the next 10. just
Nia
to spite
Jax
us.
will win it.
It will come down to Nia Jackson, Roman Reigns, and Drew will leave for the parking
Yeah,
lot.
I would leave.
Yeah.
For me, it's Lucha or nothing.
I like Lucha. Lucha's good.
Lucha
Chris
is
has
good.
recently gotten back into it. I've gotten him hooked back into
Lucha's good.
WWE. So
It wasn't you.
Yes,
It wasn't you.
It wasn't you.
I watched back in the Attitude Era, and then I fell off.
yeah, that's right. I'm sorry.
What did it was the Hardy Boys coming back.
That's right.
That's what did it.
Now, when you say when the Hardy Boys coming back, do you mean coming back to WWE or do
Yeah.
you mean the Broken Hardys?
Coming back to WWE.
Oh, well, I have some stuff to show you.
I showed him a little bit because he's like, "What's this delete stuff?"
Right. I had
it's
to
the
learn.
greatest thing they've ever done.
I had to learn all about it all over again. So it's
Anyway. Yeah, awesome.
All right. Well, guys, we know you got to get out of here. We really appreciate you stopping by. Folks, please check out Under the Hood on Facebook. Come to Nickel City Comic Con. Meet these guys. They're awesome guys. They do great work. Guys, thank you so much for stopping by. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate
Thanks
it.
for
Yeah, it
having
was
us.
fun. It was
Appreciate
fun.
It was great.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Anytime.
All right. Once again, big thank you to John and Chris from Under the Hood. We really appreciate them giving us the time. Folks, check them out. About time to wrap it up with as we started last week, new segment, closing statement. We have an answer.
Oh.
Last week's question. If you remember last week for our closing statement, our question was, what comics are you reading and why would you read them to us? We have a question. We have an answer from Twitter from at Duran_DD fan.
I like
DD
it.
is in Daredevil.
Uh-huh. Well,
He says, currently reading Dark Horse's Rebels series for a good historical fiction and Image's Drifter because it's compelling space fantasy sci-fi.
cool.
So thank you very much for that answer.
Rebels and Drifter.
Yes.
All right. Noted.
If you guys would like to ask us a question or answer the question of the week, which my esteemed colleague is going to be asking momentarily, you can do so at the following social media outlets. You can find us on Twitter at Devils Do Pod. You can go to facebook.com/DevilsDoPod. You can email us at thedevilsdopod@gmail.com, or you can go to thedevilsdopodcast.com, where all these resources are available to you, which brings us to closing statements. Drew,
Yes.
what do you want to ask the people?
All right. So, we indulge our passions on this show, and they usually involve comic books. Our last question last week involved comic books. I have a comic book question for everyone. What video game would you most like to see adapted to a comic book? I know there are various ones out there, but let's put maybe some of the obvious ones aside, or maybe not. What video game series, or singular, would you like to see in a comic book form?
Well, seeing as I already get my favorite video game series as a comic, Street Fighter.
You do.
comic
Yes, you
moved
do.
on. You know what? There was a Metal Gear Solid comic that came out years back
Oh boy.
that had incredibly awesome artwork. I never read it for a reason. I wouldn't mind seeing our Metal Gear series.
Hope it comes with a decoder ring. There's your question.
Be
Let us
sure
know.
to drink your Ovaltine.
That's Kojima trolling us all this time. That was the whole point of Metal Gear Solid. We just never knew it.
All
It
right.
wouldn't surprise me.
Alrighty, folks. Thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it. Court is adjourned.